Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the side of the world. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you back. And thank you for also tuning in to this Alter Cop 30 Philippines mini series since the very beginning. By the way, my name is Siki Asinas. I am from Sustain Rumble, and we are supporting and we have supported Alter Cop 30 Philippines on a lot of things. And we're back for the continuation of this mini series, and we're actually about to end. Um, and I would say that we're ending on a high note with a few episodes remaining. So please stay tuned for the upcoming ones. They won't be long. And uh, in and as you know, in this miniseries, we uncover stories of human beings, terrific human beings who have been instrumental, in bringing this together. And what way to do another episode other than to uncover another story of a group, an initiative, a program that has been making an impact in our society today, and also helping our environment thrive. But before anything else, I'd like to say thanks to everybody who have attended the Altar Cop 30 Philippines last November 27 or no 28th to 30th at Asian Institute of Management in Makati City. We're really lucky to have you joining either online or in person. Regardless of however you've joined, you have made an impact and you have made a bold step towards helping us, our country, be able to unlock a regenerative future. And by regenerative future, we are hopeful that a lot of the conversations that we had in that event and even the master classes would amount to substantial changes in the future. And if you must know, we're also us at the organizing team are making real and tangible action, post action, to essentially take the next steps towards turning all of our conversations and all of our activities into real results. May it be, the policy advising, um, informing further action, bringing more change makers together, and essentially create collective impact. So you may catch more of Alter Cup Philippines in the coming months in different versions or segments or maybe pocket events. Maybe I can't really assure what's coming, but ensure that we'll be around and we'll be back very very soon. All right, well, we're here to, as I mentioned, to cover another story. And if you've attended the day 2 and day 3 of the Alter Cop 30 Philippines, you might have seen them in the event. You might have seen these people who, are actively working with our indigenous peoples in protecting our environment and specifically helping nurture our forests and even our bodies of water. And you may it may be it may it, this topic might be close to your heart, especially if you're living in Metro Manila or somewhere maybe north in northern Luzon or any region within Luzon, and you may have gone to Olongapo with your family, spent some time in Subic Bay, and other areas such as Baguio and others, because this group, this initiative has been, actively operating there, and they've been helping our local communities be able to carry their mission towards stewarding the protection of our environment. And you know most of us, I would say, have possibly driven by Subic Bay and see the modern hotels, the duty free shops, the economic zone that rose from the ashes of Mount Pinatubo. And we see progress, we see development. But just a few kilometers away, hidden within what remains our forests, lives a truth we've forgotten. The Aeta people of Pastolan have been here longer than our recorded history. They share bloodlines with the Aboriginal people of Australia, making them among the oldest communities on Earth. And today, they hold the keys to something we desperately need: 4 to 12,000 hectares of forest reserve, part of the last 3% of rainforest left in the Philippines. But here's the tension. While the rest of Subic races towards a modern economy, the Aeta struggle to sustain their way of life without losing what makes them who they are. The land they've stewarded for millennia is eyed by developers who see profit where the Aeta see medicine, water, clean air, and a living library of ecological wisdom passed down through oral tradition. Our guest today didn't grow up in this forest, but when they first walked through ancestral domain of Pastolan, something shifted. They saw not a relic of the past, but a doorway into a future we might actually want to live in. So they built a bridge, a social enterprise that allows people like us to learn what the Aita have always known, that preservation can be more valuable than exploitation, and that ancient wisdom might be exactly what we need to survive what's coming. Welcome to another conversation about what happens when you choose to listen to the oldest voices in the room. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show two amazing people behind the terrific program Mad Earth. Actually, not just a program, but a social enterprise. Please welcome Raf Janicio and Jess Infante. Raf and Jess, thank you very much for joining us.
Woo! Woo! Yes. So we're
Thank
woo.
you. Thank you.
finally,
Yay.
finally having you. Finally, we have you on. Thank you very much to you both for gracing us with your presence and also with your time. I know time is precious, and I know and I can see that you're probably in probably somewhere. Can you tell our listeners where you are now?
Jess. Nasaan ba tayo,
Ikaw na,
Jess?
ikaw na magsabi.
So
Saan ba?
we're in Subic Bay Freeport zone, just
Okay.
known as Subic Bay. We just finished running a
5-day program.
5 day field trip for some high school kids about to immerse in the community, to
Wow.
volunteer in a local public school, and we have eaten too much food in the forest.
Oh gosh. I
Actually.
feel envy. I can remember the last time I've eaten delicious food in the forest. And I think that also might be a call to join one of Mad Earth's, you know,
Yeah,
trips.
join our tour. Yeah, in fact, the program here is called Feast from the Forest because they cook very well. And right now we're well on our way to develop the permaculture agroforest and then the permaculture farm.
Food forest.
So one is mostly fruit trees and the other is mostly like vegetables. But we're doing the soil building on both in both areas, right? And this is just around the main forest area, the ancestral domain of the Pastolan community.
Mm.
And it's
Mm,
beautiful forest. We walked there this morning, and man, like if silence could talk, yeah,
right. Yeah. I mean, that speaks a lot of messages, definitely. If silence could talk. And well, that's really wonderful, Raf. I mean, siguro, well, ako, I would say na medyo ingit din ako kasi, I hope I could have visited the forests more than I ought to. And sabi ko nga, 'di ba, that might be a call for me to join one of your travels. But yes, so we're here to maybe talk about something very very essential, and that's really your adventure towards preservation and helping protecting our forests. And you two have really done an incredible job in being bringing communities together, and also um attracting more people to also take part in the mission. But let's go back memory lane. Balik muna tayo dun sa siguro maybe few years down the line. So kayo, you've been actively involved with the local communities over there, especially the indigenous communities also. And I do presume that it started somewhere that isn't as straightforward. Like it's not
Mm.
like one snap right away, ganun na kagad. You might have discovered something that perhaps changed your perspective. Now, my question for you both is that what did you see that made you realize that when you saw that you couldn't just walk away and do nothing, and what was the very first step that you took in order to build this bridge that you're creating between their world, I would say the local communities, and ours, from the urban areas, peri-urban areas, and basically people living in, I would say, in the cities.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of the answer for MAD in general,
Mhm.
like of our direction towards environment and restoration, and then specifically for this community. Um, I'll start with the bigger one for MAD in general. It was still an Aeta community, but it was about an hour and a half away from Subic. I got to visit another tribe. They're called the Yangil tribe, and seeing their valley, feeling the intense heat, but also seeing the intense beauty, I was like, wow, it's beautiful, but empty. I wish there were trees so we could enjoy this 4,000 hectare ancestral domain walking. And soon I found out that we've lost most of our trees, lost most of our forest. Because of that, we're flooding. Because of that, it's extra hot. And it always bothered me. Like, whenever I'm doing some work that's not related to environment, there's a voice in my
Mhm.
head that says, well, yeah, you're earning money, but in the end, you're either gonna get flooded out or you're gonna burn with the wildfire or just, get a heat stroke. Like, maybe you should be putting your time into something that really, makes it good for you and everyone else, right? Because,
Mhm.
yeah, money's useless in a bad environment. Like, you can't, if the water's dirty, doesn't matter if you go to a five-star hotel, the beach is bad. If it's hot, man, like, you can stay in your hotel room, but that's no vacation. You want to go out, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, you can't ignore it, and that's kind of just been the path, and that voice has steadily gotten louder and louder. Um,
Mhm.
with this community, with this community in Subic, the Tingtingin River Group. What's interesting is the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, it's okay. I wasn't so impressed, but it's because I didn't really know what to look for. My eyes were
Mm.
not calibrated to see the beauty of the old world, right?
Mm.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that if you asked the elders, they were also very skeptical of me, right? But I
Yeah.
think the paradigm shift was when Sir Ongi of Forest Foundation visited, and I was like, "Sir, maybe you just want to visit this forest trail." And he said, "Sure." We had dinner there. We went for a walk, and that what would take us 10 minutes took us an hour. And Sir Ongi was just wowed by the knowledge of um, the elder Erlinda, Nanay Erlinda, and she knew every tree, every plant, what it
Yeah.
could do, medicine, poison, food, right, construction material, like like baby, stuff for your baby. Everything is complete. And when we walked away, the Forest Foundation group said, what's beautiful about this forest is the knowledge of the people, right?
Mhm.
And then I was like, wow, that stuck. That stuck. And that became a big turning point because we started to really take notes and listen more. And today with that started in what 20 that started what 29 2018 2019. And today we've basically just taken a lot of notes and today we're getting the same information but merging it with science, no? And
Yeah.
maybe Jess, you want to kind of chime in because you
Yeah.
yeah.
I think to add on what he said, no, it's the place is so beautiful that until now we're still discovering new things, adding notes to it. But there's this group who stayed here for like a week. I think about last two
December.
years ago. Um during December. And then the feedback of the kids who were interacting with the community, because it's a mix of international students, so some can understand Tagalog, some can't, but most of them are international, but some of them are Filipinos also. um, there are, I think, 2 3 kids who can understand and speak Tagalog. So they were able to really communicate and connect to Nani Erlinda and to the community. But there are some kids who, Filipinos, who couldn't. understand or even speak Tagalog. And then I thought that during the whole trip, they were very disengaged with the program. And then I think this first time also that I'll be sharing this story, but related to the story that you were telling before, also that the kids, they told me that it wasn't that it's not that they're not
Engaged.
engaged,
Yeah.
but they were kind of regretful, or they were kind of sad that they
Mhm.
didn't had the opportunity to, or they didn't took it seriously to understand and learn Tagalog, kind of thing. And I think for me, because kids now, right, they prioritize learning English more than learning Tagalog. And
Mhm.
having that, no, kids to want to speak Tagalog is a win.
Mhm.
Because they wanted to speak Tagalog, not just to speak it, but to communicate and to relate to communities like Nana Erlinda. So
Mhm.
that's one. And then seeing it to Nana Erlinda's, and also to Nana Erlinda's part as well. Um, I've seen her confidence throughout the years facing schools like this, even though she knows that she couldn't be understood like directly, and that we had to translate. um there's this sense of confidence in her that she said that wasn't there before.
Mhm.
And because she has been exposed to people, kids like that, and she wishes that her kids and her grandchildren would have the same confidence to talk and to stand for their own also. So yun, parang
Mhm.
whenever we would have visitors, um, she would invite some of her relatives to also see that this the other people, respects them, and
Yeah.
that bring confidence to her tribes, so that when the moment comes, they could communicate well and have that confidence also, because they came from a village where they experience discrimination.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's a very touching story, and um I think there's a lot of value that immersion opportunities like these, or immersive opportunities like these, can actually bring to both sides, the travelers and also the local communities. And from what I'm hearing, Nanay Arlinda, I would say siguro, with more exposure to different people, to be visiting them, I think that might have developed her confidence over time. And I do hope that also that's another maybe value or virtue that she can also pass on to their community. And I guess also, it has been an opening also for the visitors to also understand how they are as people. And despite with the language barrier, um yung I think the common virtue and the common understanding of, okay, we're here for a reason, and we're here to understand what nature is about, and much deeply, and also find it in ourselves to also love it, is I would guess rewarding. So we just briefly touched on immersion, and I would say that maybe not only kids, not only families have visited the communities there with Nanay Erlinda and her folks. Now, I would assume that there could have been more visitors that are larger and may have different interests,
Mm.
in with the forest. Now, and I'm specifically talking about developers, commercial developers who might see the forests much differently, and might have different intentions with it. Now that they see, okay, this might be a good opportunity, might be a different opportunity that they're seeing. No, now, walk us through the tension that you may have experienced or witnessed between commercial development. Maybe there's certain part of Subic that also maybe want to reclaim part of the forest, as part of like expanding development, or maybe other developers who just really want to like go in there and maybe commercialize parts of the forest, you know. And of course, the other side is preservation. Uh, what was that tension? Could you tell us more about it, and what maybe systemic issues you've seen when you uncovered, or that you uncovered when that maybe you realized that go beyond just saving trees or whatnot.
Okay. No, it's an interesting angle because ever since we started visiting, there was always a group that would show up maybe every 2 years, and there are different groups along the way who would say, "Can I buy this part of your forest? Can we make your waterfalls bigger? Can we develop this?" Right? And interesting enough, the response of the Aitas was, "Why are you gonna change it? It's already beautiful. Like nature, God made it that way." Right? That was the response, right? And then of course the outside group will say no, so we can make money, we can build this and that, right? um, I think what's interesting in that perspective is that the community understands that naturally built is beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's very different from from what you might find aesthetically pleasing in a cement city, right? um, so it's a different kind of beauty, and I think over the years I've learned how to appreciate it more. It makes me realize that if you grow up in the city, you're not attuned to this kind of, let's say, flavor, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
acquired taste, or something you learn along the way. um, and so interestingly enough, the tension was outside wanted to invest into the forest by destroying it, and inside they didn't want to destroy the forest, but they still want to earn, right? And I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of crux of the matter. Every community we go to, they understand destroying the environment's bad, but they also want to earn money. And so how do you do both at the same time? And when you take a step back and look at our school system, you look at the businesses around us, many of the businesses are very extractive in nature: mining, lumber, the development we have. Even most of our tourism is in the country. Like they're in nature, but if you ask me, were they designed to be sustainable from the start? I don't think so, right? I think they're on the way to. Some of them will be pivoting, right? We have a long way to go in terms of really making our country more sustainable in those aspects. Uh, And so systemically, we don't know what we don't know, and so
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to upskill. Everyone has to learn. um, I had the chance to facilitate a Department of Tourism ecotourism workshop, and when I asked people in the room, "Hey, so how can the private sector help? What can we do?" And they were saying, there's a lot of new knowledge now that wasn't taught 20, 10, 5 years ago about sustainability, which connects to ecotourism. He said we need continuous upskilling, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they need the information so they can guide the LGU constituents. So that would be
Mm-hmm.
like your small banquero, your small restaurant, small resort, towards actual ecotourism, right? And it's fair, right? We do need more resources in that department to help people manage the operation and guide us towards sustainable outcomes. No? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
systemically we're coming from examples of wealth that weren't sustainable, and the school system is not equipped to teach us about models of wealth where both environment and economy benefit. No, it's usually one of the,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I
Thus,
think
Alter
to
Copy.
Correct.
yeah, to there's also one thing with the community that we work with. Hindi kami yung nagdadala ng idea of regenerative industry, or and I think in that sense we are all aligned. And the community that we work with, especially Tingtingin, they know how much their land values.
Mm-hmm.
and the impact to it to their culture, their tribe, and to all the people who lives around Subic and inside Subic Bay. So it was very, very easy for us to communicate to them, or we don't even have to communicate to them kasi sila mismo alam nila na dapat alagaan nila yung environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when people come in asking for offering to buy lands and stuff like that, turn it into a development. Diba? Sila na mismo yung parang alanganin or magkukonsulta muna sa ibang tao, or would have us translate documents that were presented to them,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yun, and yun, even to us, natututo din kami sa kanila to properly value yun, their the environment, nature, and what's inside the forest and its littlest things.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's really well put. And I really do appreciate hearing that there are lots of initiatives that now see it differently, and I'm glad that you guys, you both are there to sort of mm, like intermediate and just really make sure that okay, all of the interests of both parties are well served, because after all, uh, we there's economic viability for the both of us here. It just doesn't have to extract and destroy,
Yeah.
and there are ways to make it regenerative, as mentioned. So keyword buzzword regenerative, and that's that's been our focus really. How do we make regeneration possible and also make it serve not only the environment but also the humans that are running it? And so I think that also brings my question now to building or scaling your solution. No, you briefly touched on, okay, how do we make it possible? And specifically, Mad Travel does immersion experiences where visitors from not only the Philippines but also other parts of the world can learn foraging, traditional medicine, and forest stewardship directly from the elders themselves. Can you tell us more about how did you design this to generate real income for the community while also keeping their cultural integrity intact? And what has surprised you most about how people responded when they actually spent time learning from the Aita?
Hmm. I think when you look at scaling the solution, we used to be a we used to just do tours in Zambales in San Felipe, and then
Mm-hmm.
we started planting these seeds, these new, starting these new relationships and communities in Antipolo, here in Subic. Um, where else? Now we've done a little something in Pampanga, Batangas,
Mm.
right? Las Piñas. We're just trying to kind of build these small relationships, and then nurture them, right? And as we keep visiting, what we've done is we've tried to design it in a way that one, make sure that the knowledge that they share is put in the right context.
Mm.
So, for example, if you walk into an unmanaged tour, as I did the first time, um,
Mm-hmm.
they just walk through the forest, and if you ask a question, they'd answer. But if you didn't know what to ask, you wouldn't get anything. They just
Mm.
say, "Oh, this tree is big. This tree is small." That's all you know as an outsider, right?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but they're because you've sat down with them over dinner several times, you've built trust. Now they're telling you, "Oh, I use this for my child. I use this for my house." So when you bring a visitor in now, you can you kind of have a lens of a local in that sense, no? And I think there's definitely a value in that, because many of the top tourist spots in the world love it when the lens you have is that of a local, right? Not that of a tourist. No? And so that creates a lot of value, right? It ups the relationship. And because you can talk about the forest, you can talk about the forage, and then of course you talk about what you're going to have for lunch, which
Mm-hmm.
you make the community provide instead, right? And we work with them on their menu, and we have to. It's a trial and error thing. You taste it. again next week, try again, try again, right? And
Yeah.
today it's fantastic, right? It's the best meal that I can get in the bay.
So true.
So I think I think just that determination, and just it's being it's persevering, but also not in a when you say scale, you'll always think of speed, right? It has to be fast.
Mhm. Yeah.
Scale with communities with regeneration is purposefully slow at first.
Yeah.
It has to be, because you're growing your roots first before you can really sprout up, just like how a tree grows, right? Roots before
Yeah.
trunk.
Mm-mm.
um
Correct.
Now though that I think we've had, like, our roots are deep, like we're friends with her kids, her grandkids, um her other friends, now we can, like, do a lot.
Mhm.
We can do more. We can delve into construction, we can delve into tea, we can delve into their farm, right? And she's even willing to help us get into other community sites where she thinks, oh, you should help them, give them some business because they need it
Mhm.
as well, no? And so it's nice to see that they're also very generous in that sense, no? I will say that a lot of people also are skeptical about what we do, like, are you not taking advantage of the community, right?
Mhm.
Using them. Um, and so our answer usually is, well, why don't you come for yourself,
Yeah.
see it for yourself, talk to them,
Yeah.
and they'll give you an honest answer. And so far, every time that's happened, people are like, okay, it's legit, right?
Yeah.
Because we make sure that the deal we give them, they're gonna earn more money. Let's put it this way, yeah. If they Because we this happened last year, they took 100 visitors on their own, and they earned whatever they earned with 100 visitors. They earned more with our 20 visitors. And the
Mm.
visitors were complaining. Our 20 visitors were saying thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So who do you want to serve? The 20 that pay more and say thank you, or the 100 that and then pay less? It's very simple, no?
Mm-mm.
So it's a marketing strategy. It's marketing well, it's communicating well, but it's also knowing the product. Like, you
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
know. I mean, not to commoditize them, but knowing their skills, knowing the talents they have, and then we share it together, right? And
Mhm.
and I think that's very oriental, like
Mm.
doing
Yeah.
things together, right? That friendship, that trust.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there. So I hope I answered that question.
No, I mean you did. Yes, and I guess I think the most important thing about it is that the culture doesn't have to be lost in the process.
No.
It has to be front and center, in everything that you do. And I think you being able to find, I would say, economic viability by just knowing how to manage it and applying business principles really unlocked the potential of that. And I think it's something that really would help the communities a lot, because I don't think this is these are principles that are being taught there, and just really like helping them understand that this is how it works, and also, um, while also allowing the visitors to have really good experiences and see the value in all of these, and seeing what they really pay for, and bring a ton of value also, you know really helps with essentially, with everything. And I think, I also like that you emphasized the scaling part and how slow it is, because it's really important uh to grow the roots first and create, I would say, sturdy and widespread roots before you actually grow up. And that way, uh it's, I would say, it's values first, because you you prioritize building a really good relationship with the Aeta community, and also building really good relationships with your visitors. And I guess that brings more business that benefits both sides, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, CK, I was thinking, with the scale, maybe I need to I don't want to scare people from trying to do business.
Yeah.
So the scale of cap of I think like just standard capitalist business is like this. It's a parabola like that. So it starts very high immediately, and then it
Yeah.
tapers off at the end, right?
Uh-huh.
Hits its what you call that. It hits a
The floor.
certain ceiling, right?
Yes.
This one is different. It starts slow like this, and then suddenly it shoots up once the
Yeah.
are settled. So in a sense, you'll reach that high point within a similar amount of time, but the going is slower at the start versus
Yeah.
fast, fast, fast at the start, right? And I think in business school they don't teach you how to like do that because the relational aspect of things is not there. And you talk to any business leader today, they're gonna tell you like the business is the people, and
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
right, and
Mm-hmm.
people take time to build those relationships.
I guess when
True.
we do our operations, then when we meet people or when we tour them around, it's not for them to, donate more to us pa or to take more of our services pa. It's really, I think, for me personally, when I go on tours, it's really more for them to do this in their own community as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the scale that we wanted, for more people to go locally, check on your community, who's your neighbor and stuff like that. And when Raf said na to we go on the forest and we make them understand how this specific tree is connected to the community, but that doesn't stop there. This
Mm-hmm.
forest, how it's connected to the community and to you also, because that tree might be just outside your house also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So that one would make us also parang let you feel na you're not as far as 3 hours away from the forest that you think you are,
Yeah.
right? And
Correct.
to scale the solution, to scale and to let other people do more regenerative businesses. Parang that's the scale we want, not just the mad branding, but you know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to scale the whole regenerative industry. That's the goal.
That's true. That's true. And then I think that that's really noble, and but of course that's not for nobility's sake. It's also to support your business, to help you also grow because the more the business comes in and the more mad we should be able to make more impact. It's just like common sense in business, no? Like in exchange, like value for value. It's not all bigay bigay bigay, but
Yeah.
has to return as well, diba? Um so, okay, now that we're already talking about regeneration, and I love that you also mentioned, Jess, that you mentioned about scaling regeneration and making it more widespread. Now, when you think about regenerative Philippines, what do you think is the role of the indigenous communities like the Aeta play in that vision? What are they in that? And if you could change, number two, one policy or maybe shift one national conversation or viewpoint right now, what would it be? Two big questions, but I guess we start making it more ambitious, and then maybe when we do it, we turn it into more practical.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Miss
I
Universe
think
question.
ano, it's surprising kasi parang with Nanay Erlinda, yun yung lagi niyang, yung last message ng forester niya actually is sana may
Yeah.
isang class na makatulong sa kanila. No? Pero when we talk to people who have also community that they help with, they're very knowledgeable in may batas pala na parang when you have a certain number of petitions, parang
Mhm.
a dredging could be stopped. Something like that. And I
Yeah.
think I'm not familiar with the policy, but I think for me, or I wish in that sense, is that there are more um, parang education part to it.
Mm.
Na it's you know, um, sana mas madaming conversation about the laws about that. Kasi hindi nga natin alam na meron pero it's already existing.
Mhm.
And I hope na the laws or the interpretation of the laws na nakasalin din siya sa Tagalog para yung mga
Mm, mm.
katutubo natin na mga kapatid naiintindihan din nila yun. Kasi para sa kanila yung batas eh.
Mm.
Unfortunately, 'di ba? Parang yung the simplest or dapat yung minimum standard na naiintindihan nila, hindi nila. hindi accessible to them.
Yeah, correct. No, I totally okay. I I might have. Okay, I think that was me. I'm so
That's
sorry,
okay.
but
No
yes,
worries. It's
we're
back.
back.
We're
We're back. Yeah, but I got everything. Jess. I mean, yeah. b- I guess the laws, they're there. They always say that we write the best laws. But
we love this.
I do, yeah, I do hope that we learn more about them. Di ba sabi nga, ignorance of the law excuses no one. And well, here, I mean, for people who maybe need to know more about the laws and might must be also involved in the lawmaking process. It's just the stewards themselves. Yeah, I do believe that it has to be in Tagalog also. It has to have a version in Tagalog
Mm-mm.
because these are parts of
And
national
I
Yeah.
think on the
conversation.
first question also, like what's the vision that the Aeta role, uh, the Aeta plays in the role?
Mm.
Parang for me, regenerative, parang wala, parang, paano ba? What's this term? Sustainability. Hindi mo siya, wala siyang, it's a buzzword and wala siyang translation. Pero
Yeah.
it's already embedded in our DNA in our culture. Na yung pakikipagkapwa. And
Mm-hmm.
kasi pag mahal mo yung kapwa mo, hindi mo sisirain yung resources niya. Right? And I think yun din kay
Mm-hmm.
Nanay Erlyn, na if just yung mindset nila, if you just take what is enough for you and you know
Yeah.
your responsibility as a Filipino, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Parang the world would be more beautiful as it is right now.
Let me try to put it in a different way. Parang we don't need more laws, but there are laws that need to be implemented. But the sometimes people don't know the law, so you don't know, you can't implement. Sometimes people know the law, but they don't follow it. What
Yeah.
does that mean, right? It could mean that
Yes.
there's no entity pushing for it, right? And the other one is that because there's legal law and then there's natural law, right?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm thinking is at least Mad's role in that sense is, and the role of these communities is to also push for the natural law, which is as cheesy as it sounds, it's the law of love, right? What just said, you love something, you take care of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that law is built on the premise of a connection between someone and the place, or someone and another person, right? Or all three elements put together.
Mhm.
Um, uh, I think the most conscientious lawmakers and the most conscientious law implementers are the ones who love the area where they're utilizing the law to grow and protect what they have. No,
Mhm.
um, and so one of our in our legal journey, we're working with the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Special shout out to Attorney Bert and to the IBP Zambales.
Shout
They
out.
they're really helpful, and I learned so much about it, about what they do, the different legalities, and how to use the law to bring development forward, not to fight, but to like heal, right? Because you
Yeah.
say to a lawyer, you're like, oh, laban. No, no, no. This one, the law can heal. It is amazing. And maybe the my favorite quote of the attorney Bert. This came out in our documentary, The Foresters. He was talking about pro bono.
Mm.
Mm.
He was younger. People kept saying, "Oh, you do pro bono work," so he thought pro bono meant free. Apparently, it doesn't mean free. Pro bono means for the good of all.
Mm.
You're doing it
Perfect.
for the future of everyone, meaning
Correct.
it's sustainability
Yeah.
or regeneration because it's for everyone's good, right?
Yeah.
um, and I think, you know, there are, going back to what I said, there are not those that the legalities that we have are all bounded on a natural law of love and care. I mean, why do we have laws in the country? Because we love the country. We want to take care of it. Uh,
Mhm.
so yon, um, I do hope that that natural law can help, that if planted in our hearts can help implement the ones that need implementing, right?
Mhm.
And perhaps that's the conversation we should be having. How do we get those people to like feel that country in our hearts, especially in a country where the dream of many is to leave? No?
Mm.
Well, true.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's fair. It's
Yeah.
okay. There's a lot of
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I
Yes.
wish there was just more also who wanted to stay.
Yeah.
It's like my dream is to stay, and like you don't hear that.
Mm.
Yeah. And you know what? When you were, when you were asking or answering this question, I think of this um, Japanese concept, and I might be butchering how I pronounce it, but it's called omoyari,
Mm,
which is selfless compassion and thoughtful consideration of others. It's as simple as, for example, diba, us men, for example, Raf,
mm.
when we pee at the urinal, there is like the sign there that you have to flush for the next user.
Yeah.
Like thinking of other people in mind.
Yung mood niya dun eh.
'Di ba? O kaya yung like, ano, when you eat at a restaurant, iligpit mo yung kalat mo, just stow
Okay.
it siguro at least the tray and the plates and the utensils doon sa may bins and don't leave it on your table. Like thinking of other people, other users who might benefit from the place or the things that you benefited from. And I guess they have this common, as you mentioned, this common understanding and awareness and even love and appreciation of, of others and what we're doing and
Mm.
how everything we're doing actually impacts more people, not only us. Really, really goes a long way. And I think that's what we need: selflessness, more
Yeah.
selflessness.
Yeah. You know, another way to reframe what you said is it's they believe in good karma and bad karma. You clean up, you get a clean. You don't clean up, you get a dirty table at some point.
Correct, correct. It really comes back to you because if okay, if you clean up your table,
Jack.
another person sees it, does the same, and so the next time you come back there, and then let's assume that this habit is being picked up by more people who witness them. Then when you
Mm.
come the next time you come back to that resto, you would find a spotless table because the previous person who was using it cleaned it up for you.
Yeah.
It's small action but bigger ripple effects.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
yeah.
How I wish we could have that for throwing waste. We did a beach this morning. Oh my, people keep throwing their bottles on the beach. Like I was saying this morning, I want to pilot a night patrol in Subic where literally it's like a party walk, but we're just telling, oh, you can't throw your trash there. Don't throw your trash there. You gotta
Yeah.
kind of push them to do it, and then say, oh, join us na lang. Be cool. Don't throw your trash there.
Yeah.
Of course, you're invited. Come.
Actually, nakakatawa. Parang seeing that, yun nga, yung nasa beach cleanup, parang bakit naging okay lang to?
I
Tong gantong
know.
behavior. Like, when? Kailan nangyari na naging okay lang
It probably
mag-behave
started with
ganito?
someone throwing, and then it was okay. That's probably how.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Ripple effects. So, we just need more people to like do do things that people can also see, and of course, out of the goodness of their own hearts, and not for visibility or clout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Parang ano nga ito. Also another quote, because I read biographies, and I read this autobiography of Malcolm X. um if our listeners are not familiar, Malcolm X is this revolutionary also in the US for the African Americans. Parang ami- uh, siya yung Andres Bonifacio ng Jose Rizal ni MLK, ni Martin Luther King. So if Martin Luther King was more diplomatic, he was more revolutionary. Parang ganun silang dalawa yung comparison. So parang this one quote of him specifically struck me. And when you see sabi niya, when you see a dirty glass of water from another person, you don't have to say it's dirty. You just have to show them the clean glass of water that you have, and they'll know. Para ganun. I'm paraphrasing, but you just need to show a clean glass of water. You don't need to point out specifically why they're wrong, how they're wrong. You just need to know why what you're doing is right, is
Mm.
the right one. Ganon. So, um, like lead by example, show. Ganon. So, yeah, really, really nice. Um, okay, well, folks, we don't have much time, and well, thank you very much to you both for gracing us with your presence. But before we let you go, of course, there's one item left in the agenda. I'm already mumbling words, and I believe there's something coming up. And could you tell our listeners more about it? And you probably have floated the idea or the thing already. Could you please?
Yeah. So in connection with scaling and spreading the idea, we were able to film with the help of director Jeff. Um, a documentary called The Foresters. It's the story of the Aetas in Zambales and how they're also connected to an ecosystem. The Aetas of Subic, a permaculturist in Zambales, a youth
Nice.
NGO, um, the integrated bar lawyers, and then our social enterprise. So it's a 51-minute documentary. We're planning screenings right now. You can find information on our website, madtravel.org, but we are also looking for private organizations who would like to screen it with us because we want more people to see it now. It is an educational piece in the sense because it shows you what kind of ecosystem you need to build something regenerative, right? And we especially want to show it in schools. And should schools use it, we do have sustainability math and business cases that they can use in class so that they can really look at real life examples. And if they want to visit, please visit the communities. So again, it's The Foresters: A Story of Climate Keepers by director Jeff Geronimo.
Okay, wonderful. Well, um, Jess, Raf, thank you very much for doing this. I'm pretty sure that the past 50 minutes has just really flown by because we've talked about a lot of things. I really do appreciate the work that you do, and I do hope that more people discover more about MAD and also take part in your future initiatives. And of course, since you've already mentioned it, the foresters, please, folks, anticipate that. I mean, that's something to watch out for. So, well, Raf and Jess, thank you very much. I should not keep you any longer. Thank you, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
See ya.
Bye, Jess and Raf.
We'll
Bye.
record your podcast on a walk.
Next time. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, folks. Again, that was Ref Jonicio and Jess Infante of Mad Earth or Mad Travel, and you may catch them, of course, everywhere. They're available online. If you want to join them in their future trips, just look up Mad Travel or Mad Earth online. You should be able to find all of their trips, travels, where you get to be immersed with the nature and also meet the local community. So really hitting two birds with one stone. And if you're just after one of those, then you get the other also. So that's actually a bonus. Uh, well, that was a really good conversation, and I truly have learned a lot from Jess and Raf. I guess also a lot of us have a lot to learn also from nature and also being close to the local communities because for one, just talking to our elderly grandma, grandpa, grandparents, uncle, aunts, our godfathers, godmothers, godparents in general, they have something to impart to us, and I don't know, but I have learned a lot from my older folks as well, and I do believe that a lot of you have too, and I think that's also the same thing. We have a lot to learn from the elders of the local communities, and especially if we've spent most of our days 24/7 in the cities, just really going out there and finding or discovering something that we may have experienced but haven't really like innately found in our own lives, or maybe haven't really fully grasped, that's actually worth finding out, you know. And I do believe that there's a lot of things that we can, learn from them, not only in protecting the environment, but also valuing life in general, and essentially see how our life is really, really well connected with nature, and how we can nurture it without having to destroy it, and make the most out of it, and help our society thrive with, not at the expense of the environment, but actually with it, with it as our ally, not an asset but an ally, someone that we can treat as equal and not something that we extract from. So, folks, that was a really good one. Hope you have learned something. Please feel free to drop your learnings in the comments. We'd love to know more about that. But you can also let us know what you've learned. Send some appreciation. We would love to receive messages from you. Actually, we're available on, not only on Spotify, but also on YouTube, and also on social media. So you can find this episode at, well, maybe if you're already at YouTube, then you can find this on Spotify, that from Sistina Rumble, specifically our channel. Or if you're tuning in on or through Spotify, you can also find this on Alter Cop Philippines YouTube. Just look up at Alter Cop Philippines. No uppercase letters, all small, all lowercase. And you should also be able to like watch and listen. And also, if you want to catch further episodes and more coming up from Alter Coffee Philippines, or also from Sustina Rumble, we are also available or active on social media through LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Well, Sustina Rumble is not as active in Facebook anymore, but we post regularly, especially the new episodes and new activities coming up through Instagram and LinkedIn. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me today and joining us, and for listening in. And we would love to catch you in further episodes. Of course, this is not the only one. As I mentioned earlier, there's a few more coming up. And of course, please do catch other, segments of Sustainable Rumble that might be coming up. Actually, coming up very, very soon as well through our so, channels. And with that, I say thank you and really, really appreciate you all. Hope to see you next time, and take care.